Have you ever wondered why, whenever Cristiano Ronaldo scores a goal, millions of people celebrate as if he were one of their own? Not just in Portugal, not just in Europe, but across Africa. From the busy streets of Lagos to the markets of Accra, to the beaches of Mombasa, to the mountains of Morocco, there is one sound that echoes almost everywhere. Children copy his celebrations before they even learn how to play football. Young boys wear the number 7 on shirts that are too big for them. Some have never even watched him play in a stadium. Some have never even owned a real football. Yet they dream because of him. They believe because of him. To millions of Africans, Cristiano Ronaldo is more than a football player. He is a proof that a poor child can one day stand on top of the world. But this story is not only about what Africa received from Ronaldo, it is about what Ronaldo received from Africa. Because while the world saw goals, trophies, records, and fame, something else was happening. A bond was growing. Over the years, Africa gave Cristiano Ronaldo something no award could ever replace. Love. The kind of love that stays when you win. The kind of love that stays when you lose. The kind of love that never disappears. And Ronaldo never ignored it. He has used his voice to support children through organizations that help those facing hunger, poverty, and conflict around the world. He has stood beside causes that has nothing to do with football. He understood that some victories cannot be measured by goals. They are measured by lives changed. But to understand why Africa means so much to Cristiano Ronaldo, we have to go back. Back to Ballon d'Or. Back before Real Madrid. Back before Manchester United. Back before the private jets. Back before the millions. Back to a little boy who knew what it felt like to have almost nothing. Because long before Africa saw hope in Cristiano Ronaldo understood what it means to grow up with very little. That may be the biggest reason why the dreams of African children have always felt so close to his heart. Before the world called him Cristiano Ronaldo, people called him CR7. He was just a small boy running through the streets of Madeira. He did not grow up in a big house. He did not have everything he wanted. His family struggled to make ends meet. Sometimes there was very little. His father worked hard. His mother worked hard. But life was still not easy. There were days when all they could do was hope that tomorrow would be better. Ronaldo did not grow up with luxury. He grew up with dreams. And sometimes that is all a child has. Every morning he chased one thing: football. Not money, not fame, not expensive cars, just a football. He played wherever he could. The streets, open fields, wherever there was space. When other children got tired, he kept playing. When everyone went home, he stayed a little longer. When people laughed, he trained harder. Even as a child, something inside him refused to quit. He believed that if he worked harder than everyone else, one day his life would change. And years later, that same dream would touch millions of children across Africa because his story sounded familiar, very familiar. Across Africa, there are boys playing football with bare feet. Some use old shoes tied together to make a ball. Some play on dusty roads. Some play on fields filled with stones. Some have never stepped inside a real football stadium. But every evening, they still play, just like Ronaldo once did. They fall, they stand up. They keep going, not because life is easy, but because they believe tomorrow can be better. That is why so many African parents tell their children about Ronaldo, not because he became rich, but because he never gave up. They see a young boy who came from very little, a boy who refused to let his situation decide his future. And that message is powerful because it is the same message many African families teach every day. Work hard, never stumble, never stop believing. You may not control where you were born, but you can control how hard you fight. This is why Ronaldo's story feels so close to home. It is not only about football, it is about hope. Hope is something Africa understands very well. Every day, millions of people wake up before the sun. They work, they struggle, they pray, they dream, not because success is guaranteed, but because giving up is not an option. That is the spirit Ronaldo carries, and that is why so many Africans see a part of themselves in him. But there was another reason the connection became even stronger. As Ronaldo became one of the greatest players on earth, he did not only play against African footballers, he respected them, he celebrated with them, he laughed with them. And over the years, some of the strongest friendships in football were built with players from Africa. Those moments will make millions of African fans love him even more. Greatness always recognizes greatness. Cristiano Ronaldo spent almost 20 years playing against the best footballers in the world. Many of them came from Africa. They were fast, they were strong, they were fearless, and they never made life easy for him. One of those players was Didier Drogba. Whenever Drogba stepped onto the pitch, defenders knew they were in for a long day. He was powerful, he was calm, and he had a way of changing big games. Then there was another, Samuel Eto'o, quick, sharp, and ready to score. He became one of Africa's greatest footballers and inspired millions of young boys across the continent. Yaya Traore brought strength to the middle of the field. Michael Essien never stops running. Sadio Mane showed that a boy from a small village could become one of the best players in the world. Mohamed Salah carried the hopes of millions of Egyptians every time he played. They were not just footballers, they were heroes, not only to Africa, but to the world. When Ronaldo played against them, he knew he had to give everything. There was no room for laziness, no room for excuses, only hard work, only focus. That is one reason he stayed at the top for so many years. The best players pushed each other to become even better. Football is funny. Sometimes you fight against each other for 90 minutes. You tackle, you run, you try to stop each other from winning, and then the final whistle blows. You shake hands, you smile, because deep inside, there is respect. That is what people often forget. Football is more than just winning. It is about respect. Over the years, Ronaldo shared the pitch with many African players. He celebrated with some. He exchanged shirts with others. He praised many of them after difficult matches. Those moments mattered because somewhere in Africa, a young boy was watching. He would see one of his own standing beside Cristiano Ronaldo, not below him, not behind him, beside him. That picture carried a powerful message. It said that talent has no color, it has no border, it has no passport. If you work hard enough, you can stand with the very best. And that message spread across Africa, in schools, in football academies, in villages, in cities. Children began to dream bigger. They no longer believed that the world's biggest stages belonged only to Europe or South America. They believed Africa belonged there too. Many of today's young African stars grew up watching Ronaldo. They copied his free kicks, they copied his celebrations, they copied his discipline, but they also wanted to make Africa proud. And Ronaldo noticed something special. No matter where he traveled, African fans were always there. They filled the stadiums. They waited outside hotels. They waved Portuguese flags. They wore Manchester United shirts. Others wore Real Madrid shirts. Others wore Juventus shirts. Others wore Portugal jerseys with the number 7 on the back. To many people, they were simple football fans. But if you looked closely, you could see something deeper. They were saying thank you. Thank you for showing us that hard work can change a life. Thank you for reminding us that where you begin does not decide where you will finish. And perhaps that is why Ronaldo has always shown respect whenever he speaks about football around the world. Because he knows that millions of those sharing voices came from one special place, Africa. But But the love between Ronaldo and Africa did not stay inside football stadiums. Away from the camera, away from the trophies, there were moments when football no longer mattered. Moments when helping people became more important than scoring goals. Those are stories that touch African hearts the most. For most people, Cristiano Ronaldo is the man who scores goals, the man who lifts trophies, the man who breaks records. But for some families, he is remembered for something much bigger: kindness. The truth is, not every good thing Ronaldo has done happened inside a football stadium. Some happened far away from the bright lights, far away from the cameras. There was a time when people needed help, and Ronaldo quietly stepped forward. Over the years, he has worked with charities that help children around the world. He has used his name to bring attention to children facing hunger, sickness, and war. He understood something very simple. A child does not choose where to be born. A child does not choose poverty. A child does not choose war. But every child deserves hope. That is why he has supported campaigns that raised money and awareness for children in need. Many of those children live in Africa. Some have no clean water. Some walk long distances just to go to school. Some sleep every night wondering where tomorrow's meal will come from. Ronaldo cannot solve every problem. No one can, but he chose to help where he could. And sometimes, one act of kindness can change a person's whole life. That is something Africa understands very well. Across this continent, people may not always have much, but they share what they have. A neighbor helps another neighbor. A stranger feeds a hungry child. A community comes together when one family is in pain. Kindness has always been part of Africa. Maybe that is why so many Africans connected with Ronaldo. Not because he was perfect, but because he remembered that success means little if you never lift someone else up. There's another thing many people admire about him. He never forgot where he came from. After becoming one of the richest athletes in the world, he often speaks about his childhood, about the struggles, about the sacrifices his parents made, about the people who believed in him before the world knew his name. These memories kept him humble, because when you remember the days you had nothing, you appreciate every chance to give something back. Millions of African parents try to teach their children the same lesson: work hard, be grateful, and when life blesses you, bless someone else. That is a lesson that never grows old. It is bigger than football. It is bigger than money. It is bigger than the kind of person you have become. And perhaps that is why Ronaldo's story continues to touch many hearts across Africa. Not every child will become a football star. Not every child will win the Ballon d'Or. Every child can choose to work hard, to stay disciplined, to be kind. Those are victories that belong to everyone. And as the years passed, something beautiful began to happen. Ronaldo's love from Africa was no longer coming from one country or two countries. It seemed to come from every corner of the continent. From North Africa to West Africa, from East Africa to Southern Africa, one man had become a hero to millions. But why did Africa embrace him with so much love? The answer is more powerful than most people realize. There is something special about Africa. When Africans love you, they love you with all their hearts. They sing for you. They defend you. They celebrate your success as if it were their own. And for many years, that is exactly how millions of Africans have loved Cristiano Ronaldo. Walk through the streets of Lagos, visit a football field in Accra, spend an evening in Nairobi, go to Casablanca, travel to Cairo, you will see children wearing the famous number 7. Some shirts are old, some are faded, some are not even original, but to the child wearing it, it is priceless. Ask them why they love Ronaldo. Most of them will not start by talking about his trophies. They will not begin with the Ballon d'Or. They will not even mention how many goals he has scored. Instead, they will say something much simpler: he never gives up. That is the message they see. Every spirit, every jump, every free kick, every celebration, it tells the same story. Work harder, keep believing, never stop. That message speaks to Africa because Africa understands hard work. Millions of fathers wake up before sunrise to provide for their families. Millions of mothers work all day so their children can have a better future. Millions of young people keep chasing their dreams even when life says it's impossible. So when they look at Ronaldo, they do not just see a football star. They see determination, they see discipline, they see sacrifice, and they see hope. There is another reason. For almost 2 decades, Ronaldo stayed at the top, season after season, year after year. Even when people said he was finished, he came back stronger. Even when critics doubted him, he answered on the pitch. That kind of resilience is something many Africans understand. Because life on this continent often requires resilience. People fall, they stand again, they lose, they begin again. They face disappointment, yet they keep moving. That is why Ronaldo's journey feels personal to so many people. His victories remind them that difficult seasons do not last forever. Videos of Ronaldo spread across Africa faster than ever before. Children copied his step overs. Teenagers practiced his free kicks. Friends gathered just to shout. Soon, it was more than a football celebration. It became a symbol of joy. A goal in a village match. A student passes an exam. A young man gets his first job. It became a way of saying, I did it. Without knowing it, Ronaldo had become part of everyday life for millions of Africans. And perhaps the most beautiful part of it all, he never asked for that love. People gave it freely because respect cannot be bought. Love cannot be forced. It is earned. Year after year, goal after goal, he earned it. But there was one thing that made this connection even more powerful. It was not just the fans. It was the moment when Ronaldo came face to face with African nations on the football pitch. Those games were never just football matches. For many Africans, they were moments of pride, moments they would never forget. And some of these moments created memories that still live in the hearts of football fans today. Every football player has matches they never forget. Not because they scored, not because they won, but because of the people they met along the way. Over the years, Cristiano Ronaldo played against some of Africa's biggest teams. Each game carried its own story. Each game carried the hopes of millions. Yes, they wanted their country to win, but they also wanted to see Ronaldo. That is the kind of respect he had earned. After the final whistle, something beautiful often happened. Children rushed towards the tunnel, hoping for a wave. Players asked to exchange shots. Fans held up signs with one simple message, CR7. This moment said something words could not. Football had brought people together. No matter the language, no matter the country, no matter the color of the jersey, one of the most unforgettable moments came at the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Portugal faced Morocco. The whole world was watching. Only 4 minutes into the match, Cristiano Ronaldo rose high into the air. The ball met his head. Goal. Portugal won 1-0. It was the only goal of the game. For Portugal, it was a huge victory. For Morocco, it was a painful defeat. But when the match ended, something else remained: respect. Moroccan supporters applauded their team for fighting until the very end. And many also applauded Ronaldo for another moment of brilliance. That is what football should look like. You compete with everything you have, then you leave the pitch with respect. Years later, Portugal met Ghana at the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and again, Africa stood in Ronaldo's path. The match was full of emotion. Ghana refused to back down. Every attack, every tackle, every save showed the heart of African football. Portugal eventually won, 3-2. Ronaldo scored from the penalty spot and became the first men's player to score in 5 different FIFA World Cup. It was another record, another page in football history. Ghana earned the respect of football fans around the world for the courage they showed until the very last minute. That is what Ronaldo has seen again and again whenever he has faced African teams. Courage, passion, heart. African football has changed. It is faster, stronger, more confident than ever before. The days when people underestimated African teams are slowly disappearing. Today, African players shine in the biggest clubs in England, Spain, Italy, Germany, France, and Saudi Arabia. They are no longer outsiders, they are leaders, champions, role models. Ronaldo has watched that journey with his very own eyes. He has played beside African stars. He has played against African stars. He has known their quality. He knows their determination. And perhaps that is why he has always treated them with respect. Because greatness recognizes greatness. While the world remembers the goals, the trophies, and the records, there is another story that matters just as much. It is not written on a scoreboard. It cannot be measured by statistics. It lives inside the hearts of millions of Africans. A generation that grew up believing if Ronaldo could rise from almost nothing, maybe I can too. This may be the greatest goal Ronaldo has ever scored. When people talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, they often talk about numbers. More than 900 goals, league titles, Champions League trophies, Ballon d'Or awards, records that may stand for many years. But numbers do not tell the whole story, because the greatest thing Ronaldo built was not just a record, it was belief. Across Africa, millions of children have never met him, they have never spoken to him, some may never even watch him play in a stadium. Yet, somehow, he became part of their lives. On dusty football fields, children still count down before taking a free kick, 3 steps back, a deep breath. Then they run towards the ball, hoping to strike it just like Ronaldo. When they score, they jump, they turn, and they shout. Everyone laughs. Everyone joins in. And for a few seconds, it feels like anything is possible. That is the power of inspiration. It travels farther than any airplane. It crosses borders without a passport. It reaches places where words cannot. But Ronaldo's legacy is not only about football. It is about discipline. The world has watched him train when others rested. The world has watched him protect his body. The world has watched him fight to stay at the top, even when younger players arrived. That lesson speaks loudly today in Africa, because success is not only about talent. Talent may open the door, but discipline keeps it open. Many young Africans understand this. A student studying late in the night, a farmer working before sunrise, a young woman building her business one customer at a time, a boy chasing his football dreams after school. Different lives, the same lesson. Keep going. Even when nobody's watching, even when progress feels slow, even when people laugh at your dream, keep going. That is what Ronaldo's journey has taught millions. And maybe that is why his story feels so close to Africa, because Africa is full of people who refuse to give up. People who keep moving forward even when the road is hard. People who believe tomorrow can be better than today. Perhaps that is the real connection between Cristiano Ronaldo and Africa. Not football, but hope. Hope that a child from a small town can change the world. Hope that hard work still matters. Hope that dreams are worth fighting for. Years from now, new stars will rise. New records will be broken. New names will fill the headlines. That is how sports works. But somewhere in Africa, a little boy will still put on a number 7 shirt. A little girl will still celebrate with a loud... And another child will look at Cristiano Ronaldo's story and said, if he did it, maybe I can too. That kind of legacy never grows old, because trophies collect dust, records are broken, but hope still lives on. There's an old saying, people may forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. For millions of people across Africa, Cristiano Ronaldo gave them something to say, something they will never forget. Not money, not fame, but hope. Hope that a poor child can dream big. Hope that hard work still matters. Hope that discipline can change a life. This is why, year after year, no matter where Ronaldo has played, Africa has been there. England, Spain, Italy, Saudi Arabia, or for Portugal, Africa has always been there, cheering, believing, standing by him. When he celebrated, they celebrated. When he cried after a painful defeat, many Africans cried with him. When people said his time was over, millions across the continent still believed in him. That kind of loyalty is rare. It cannot be bought. It has to be earned, and Ronaldo earned it. Of course, football is a game. One day, every player plays the last match. Every legend hangs up their boots. That day will come for Cristiano Ronaldo too. The stadium will become quieter. The headlines will move on. A new generation of stars will arrive. That is the way life works. But some things will never change. Somewhere in a village in Kenya, a little boy will still wear a faded number 7 shirt. Somewhere in Nigeria, children will still shout, "SIUUU," after scoring with a homemade football. Somewhere in Nigeria, children will still shout after scoring with a homemade football. Somewhere in Ghana, a father will tell his son, "Work hard like Ronaldo." Somewhere in Morocco, a young girl will believe that no dream is too big. Not because Ronaldo promised them success, but because he showed them what is possible when talent meets discipline. And perhaps that is the greatest gift anyone can leave behind. Not trophies, not medals, not records, but belief. So, why would Cristiano Ronaldo never forget Africa? Maybe because Africa never forgot him. Through every goal, through every victory, through every difficult moment, this continent stood with him. It celebrated him, it respected him, and in return, he became more than a football player. He became a symbol that reminds millions of young Africans that your beginning does not decide your ending, that where you come from does not limit where you can go, that dreams are not only for the rich, they are for anyone willing to work for them. And maybe, just maybe, years from now, when Cristiano Ronaldo looks back on his incredible journey, he will remember the trophies, he will remember the records, he will remember he backed stadiums, but he may also remember something that cannot be counted: the smiles of African children wearing the number 7, the voices shouting his name from every corner of this beautiful continent, the love that crossed oceans, the respect that crossed culture, the bond that football created. Because in the end, football was never just about the game. It was about people. It was about dreams. It was about bringing hearts together. And that is why Cristiano Ronaldo will never forget Africa. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments. Which African country do you think loves Cristiano Ronaldo the most? And if you believe Africa has more inspiring stories the world needs to hear, subscribe to AfriArise, where we tell the stories that deserve to be remembered. Because Africa is not just a place on the map. Africa is a story that the world is still learning to understand. My name is Blessing Chris. See you in the next one.